So you want to buy a house and you want it to be stress-free, easy, and fun. Well, the good thing in this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know A through Z, from just getting started to all the way to closing, and how to make this an enjoyable, fun, stress-free experience. So the number one thing I recommend doing is to know your finances. And this means sitting down and doing a budget. Now, I know that word may scare you, but it's really simple. Just sit down and write down all of your monthly expenses, your housing expenses, everything you pay on a monthly basis, and put it in a spreadsheet or write it down. Then take all of your monthly income and find out how much money you have left over. After doing a budget, you should come to a very comfortable number that you are willing to spend on housing while still maintaining your lifestyle and still saving towards all of your goals. Now, the next part is to find out how much money you have available to purchase a house. Now, buying a house is not free. It's going to cost some money. Now, depending on the loan program, that depends on how much, but it's a good idea to find out how much you have available to spend, whether it's in savings, gift funds, pulling from your retirement, whatever it may be. It's a good idea to find out how much you have available that you feel comfortable spending to purchase a home. Now, the third part of this is to find out what your credit is. Now, I'm sure a lot of people use like Credit Karma and apps like that. However, a lot of those apps are not super accurate. The best piece of advice to find out what your credit score is to go to Experian. Find out what their credit is. Now, your mortgage score is going to be a little bit different than your consumer credit score. Now, those consumer credit scores are for credit cards or maybe when you go buy a car. But your mortgage score is going to be completely different. But I found Experian is the closest to your mortgage score that you can find. Now, the very next step, now that you have your budget done, you have an idea of how much you have ready to spend on this purchase and what your credit is to find a mortgage broker. Who is on your team really plays an impact on how smooth this experience is going to be. So I recommend asking friends, family who have purchased recently who their loan officer was and find out if they're available to work with you. The biggest piece of advice I can give you is don't settle on a loan officer. If communication's not good from the beginning, it's probably not going to be good all the way through. And also, it's a good idea to compare lenders, which I have some other videos about. And as a reminder, there's thousands of loan officers in your state willing and able to help you. So don't feel like you need to go with the first one you talk to. Find somebody you vibe with. Find somebody that makes you feel comfortable and confident about the process. Now, after you've found a good loan officer to work with, the next step is to get pre-approved. Now, this word may sound scary, but I promise when you work with the right person, it's quick and easy. The first thing you'll do is complete a mortgage application online. Normally takes 10 to 20 minutes. And after that's done, you'll go ahead and submit some documents verifying all the information on the application. Now, these documents usually include pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements. This also may include other documents like tax returns or LES statements, just depending on your situation. Now, after you submit the application and all the documents to your loan officer, they will go through and find out what you're pre-approved for based on your situation. Now, there's different loans for different scenarios. There's definitely not a one-size-fits-all for mortgages. Now, make sure your loan officer goes over all of these options with you to find out what's going to be the best fit for your long and short-term goals. Now that you have your finances done, now that you have a mortgage lender and a pre-approval in hand, the next step is to find a real estate agent. Now, what I usually recommend is to ask that loan officer, who have they worked with that they recommend? That's going to be the easiest way to find somebody that should be trustworthy. Now, another option is to go to Google and find who has good reviews. Now, again, like I mentioned for the loan officer part, communication is very important. If somebody is not answering their phone or returning your calls quickly, chances are that's probably how they're going to be through the entire transaction. You want somebody who's responsive because communication solves a lot of problems when you're trying to buy a house. The same thing with loan officers. There's hundreds of real estate agents in your area that are willing to serve you. So again, don't settle on somebody unless you're absolutely in love with them. Congratulations. Now you have your dream team. You have your loan officer, you have your real estate agent, you're pre-approved. Now is the fun part, to start looking for the house that you're going to call your next home. So the biggest piece of advice here I can give is to find out what you really need in a house and break down what you want, because what you need should be a non-negotiable. What you want can be added bonus. Now, it's very important that you feel comfortable with the homes you're going to look at, because maybe they check all the boxes, but maybe the monthly payment's a little bit higher than you were hoping. At the end of the day, nobody should be house poor. With all my clients, it's my number one priority to make sure you feel comfortable with your monthly payment. So communicate all of those homes that you're looking at with your loan officer. They should be able to run payments for you. So that way you don't go see something and fall in love with something that maybe the payment's just a few $100s too high for your monthly budget. Now that you found your dream home, the next step is for your loan officer and real estate agent to help craft up an offer for that home. Now, I ideally, they'll work together to find out how they need to structure things to put it in your best interest. Because real estate, in my opinion, there's always a winner and there's always a loser. When someone's on my team, I want to make sure they're on the winning end of this. So it's very important to talk with your loan officer and real estate agent to find out what type of things you can ask for when offering. Now, depending on the area and current market conditions, you may be able to get the sellers to pay all of your closing costs. Now, those excess seller credits may be even available to help lower your interest rate or pay down debt. There's lots of different ways to structure things when it comes to real estate, and everything's a negotiation. So always ask for as much as you can while still being realistic. So now that an offer of yours has been accepted, now you're under contract. Now begins underwriting, appraisal, all that fun stuff that your loan officer should be able to go over you with. But if they're very thorough in what they do, there shouldn't be too much left for you as the buyer, because the majority of the paperwork should have been done before you even went under contract. So after the appraisal comes back good and meets value and everything's good there, and you get insurance set up and the lender works on a few conditions with you, you should be all set for closing here within 20 to 30 days. So you're finally here. It's closing day. What's going to happen next? Well, your agent's probably going to do a final walkthrough with you. This is where you go through the property one last time to make sure everything's cleaned out, the property is in the condition that you last saw it in, and everything is all good. Usually after that, you head to the title company or the attorney's office and sign some paperwork. That's where you'll go over your closing disclosure and all the other fun 100 pages of documents that you'll sign your name 150 times on. Now, the very last step of this is the lender needs to fund the loan. Now, when everything's all done, guess what? You get your keys. Congratulations. You have now just purchased a home. It is officially yours. So now that the home's yours, what's next? Well, the very first thing I always recommend doing is to change the locks on a home. Very important, because you never know who has access to your house. So you want to change all the locks, all the codes, and all of that should be able to be pretty affordable and done pretty quickly after you close on the home. The next thing you want to do is just make sure you have complete understanding of how the HOA works if this applies to you, because the HOA is not included in your mortgage payment, but they will definitely reach out to you to collect their money. So you want to just get with them and find out how their process works and how they collect payments so you don't fall behind, because believe it or not, if you don't pay the HOA, they can take your house. Pretty crazy, but that's just how things are. Now, the last step is to finally set up your mortgage payment. Now, typically, this is done 45 to 60 days after you close. So if you close in January, your first payment's not till March 1st. You go that whole month of February without making a payment. Now again, your loan officer may structure it in a different way, but that's generally how it is. So you want to get with your loan officer if you haven't got a piece of mail or been giving online instructions on how to set up those automatic payments, because you definitely don't want to fall behind and have that first mortgage payment late. So hopefully this video was a really good walkthrough on what you need to do to make this a stress-free buying process. Whether it's your first time or fifth time, this applies to everybody. At the end of the day, who your team is really matters. A good loan officer and a good real estate agent can make this process really easy, fun, quick. It doesn't have to be stressful. I like to live my life pretty stress-free, and I want that for my clients too. And so if you're ever looking for a mortgage, we're in 47 states, so please drop a comment, give me a call, whatever you need to do. I am here to be a resource for you. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll make sure to catch you in the next video.